Howdy. We have to talk about auroras, Earth's electromagnetic fields, and a bunch of other things. There has been very interesting news emerging today. I would like to give thanks to the person who sent me that link. It was very interesting. And since it is my job to feed the good wolves, it is my job to feed the good wolves. In other words, I have to do something. So, this is what I now do with transmutating the elements into something probably more usable, sharing some own insights, news, and how they fit together. Because I spent some time already with the bad wolves today. As you maybe noticed, my nose is a bit, doesn't really, the air doesn't flow through because I spent some time with crying. But I also decided to spend some of my time and energy for something on the other side of the spectrum. That's why I'm making a video. Being an alchemist means that you actually do stuff and not only talk about things. So this is what I do right now. Making a statement. Fighting back. And maybe, hopefully, you will notice how my frequency will change as we go into the actual subject itself. Right now, I'm struggling. It's hard to talk, but I know that it will change. It is about where you put the focus. It's not about ignoring the other things. They are still there, they don't go away. But you only have a certain amount of energy available. So use it wisely. There is always energy that will be so to say, wasted. But if you can use the energy that you still have for something positive, uh, constructive, or enhancing the frequencies, do it. Just by using your own words or your own voice, you are manifesting things, because then you create a certain or something like a circuitry already just by talking, because when you talk, you emit voice or sound, and it will go back to your ears. And of course, it goes through your body. And it's strange to talk if there's no one around. So, I'm talking to you. Whoever you are, wherever you are, there might be some response to this, maybe not. Maybe I get some feedback about this, maybe not. It's not about that. But if there's at least one person out there who would listen and got anything out of this, just one person, or, it was already worth it doing this. So, anyway, let's dive into the actual topic. Auroras and Birkeland currents, energy circuits, and here on this I made a few days ago when we had the geomagnetic storm, and I was very intrigued that how is it possible that it really looks like there would be a Birkeland current coming down? Yeah, this looked amazing. I don't have any time lapse of that because I didn't knew that something this would happen, and this wasn't a long event. This just was rather brief. And yeah, but I got a few pictures of that, and that's maybe the best of it. So now let's start with the whole topic about auroras and other transmutation of elements. As I explained in my Finnish copper playlist, that obviously contains now 39 videos, yeah, there's something to watch for everyone. You can see the microwave experiments, and I'm trying to explain of how I think, for example, the copper uh, and the sulfur have their origin up above from the skies. Like this one video, sulfur and comets. So here we have sulfur and comets. So maybe the sulfur came from above and not from below. And there are many things I have been talking about, and I really recommend you to check out the last one I added, wherever it is. It's not the last one here, for some reasons. I found an Outokumpu in Nigeria. They are talking about, in the video about the mountain that gets this. You can see the electricity around it. And I have been talking about that as well, about the actual Outokumpu, about the troll that lives in the mountain that burns his golden treasures, and there will be a moldy smell and strange lights above the hill. So the hill on itself is not on fire because those strange lights are above the hill. And I also talk about how many people think that the ancients are crazy because they were telling these kinds of strange things. But no, there are still people nowadays in Africa that are telling the same thing.
That trip, that's why you see this place. In the night, all the round of the. I cannot pass it for night. Don't say the electric. Wherever they talk like that. Fire. I hear say fire. No. See, I have case to say why you pass. You know if you know. Now the place why near the store. Now you see all those like we were there here now. We know what you consider with me with us here now. Now they make up to today. They never finish this video now. So behind me.
Yeah, we don't watch now this video because I have something very important to share. Not only recently I got, I think, very good proof about this whole Outokumpu theory that there is plasma activity, and I showed you volcanic plasma phenomenon, all these kind of things. And also about my theory that the sulfur and copper, they are basically auroral precipitation events, or the remnants of auroral precipitation, that it was actually raining brimstone from the sky. Like I have shown you my brimstones, like the one here, okay? So now let's have a quick listen to what Velikovsky wrote many years ago. So that's from the Internet Archive. We are reading Worlds in Collision by Velikovsky. Ambrosia. In what way did this veil of gloom dissolve itself? When the air is overcharged with vapor, dew, rain, hail, or snow falls, most probably the atmosphere discharged its compounds, presumably of carbon and hydrogen, in a similar way. Has any testimony been preserved that during the many years of gloom carbohydrates precipitated? When the dew fell upon the camp in the night, the manna fell upon it. It was like the hoar frost on the ground. It had the shape of coriander seed, the yellowish color of bdellium, and an oily taste like honeycomb. It was called corn of heaven, and it was ground between stones and baked in pans. The manna fell from the clouds. After the nightly cooling, the carbohydrates precipitated and fell with the morning dew. The grains dissolved in the heat and evaporated, but in closed vessel the substance could be preserved for a long time. The exegetes have endeavored to explain the phenomena of manna and were helped by the naturalists who discovered that a tamarisk in the desert of Sinai sheds its seeds during certain months of the year. But why should this seed be called corn of heaven? So now, it fell from the clouds. So now there has been some news I received today. It's about solar foods. Food out of thin air. For the first time in history, humankind can produce food without burdening our home planet. Liberating protein production. Food production, as we know it, is entirely dependent on land and weather conditions. Protein production is a massively disproportionate squanderer of the Earth's resources. We are now entering the era of sustainable food production to liberate our planet from the burdens of agriculture. Harvesting natural microscopic food. Our unique bioprocess can grow a single microorganism, one of the billions found in nature, into an endless supply of edible food with air, electricity, and fermentation. This bioprocess may not be traditional, but it is as natural as the air we breathe. Now let's dig deeper. The bioprocess to sustainably revolutionize food production has always been around. Now, humankind has the knowledge to embrace it. Process designed by nature. The process takes a single microbe, one of the billion different ones found in nature, and grows it by fermenting it, which is also called a bioprocess. Yeah, you have to follow the rules of nature in order to succeed. Always. That's why they are important to understand. We feed the microbe like you would feed a plant, but instead of watering and fertilizing it, we use mere air and electricity. Air and electricity. With our current process, this is 20 times more efficient than photosynthesis and 200 times more than meat. What? Anyway, by using fermentation to grow protein, the bioprocess of our first protein product, solein, may not be traditional, but it is natural. And the best part? It won't run out. Our production process consists of the 5 following steps. Raw materials, natural bioprocessed, harvesting, protein powder, food. Yeah, that's rather simplified, I guess. Feedstock. Air. The microorganism grows like a plant, but instead of water and soil, we capture our main feedstock from air. Carbon dioxide and water. Once again, they need carbon dioxide. We need carbon dioxide. So whoever tries to take it away from our air does not do anything good to our planet, because we need carbon dioxide. I'm thinking about making a video about something rather shocking I discovered some time ago, but yeah, let's see. I have to think about this. It's rather. Anyway, let's go into that again. Renewable electricity. We use electricity to split water from air into hydrogen and oxygen. Thanks to renewable power, the efficiency from electricity to calories is about 20%. Yeah, they don't say where they get the renewable electricity, but anyway, this means that Solane is 100 times more efficient in converting energy than to calories than animals. Yeah, because there are much less circuits and there is no soul and no mind to feed, so it's much more simple. But anyway, nutrients and minerals. A few percent of the end product consists of inorganic nutrients such as phosphorus and calcium, which cannot be taken from the air. Yeah, I'm really interested into the sulfur content of this stuff. Natural bioprocess. Our solution is not a plant or an animal. Instead, it's a non-modified microbe, one of the billion different ones found in nature. And it's completely natural even though it's not grown traditionally. Humans have used fermentation for thousands of years, brewing beer and making wine with yeast. We use the same process, but instead of sugar and yeast, we split water from the air for the microorganisms to live in. Next, we feed them tiny bubbles of CO2 and nutrients, like nitrogen, calcium, phosphorus, and potassium. Yeah, potassium in the transmutation of the elements turns into calcium. So they are basically the same thing, just in a different state. That's alchemy. Basic alchemy. But anyway, the same nutrients and what? The same nutrients that plants absorb through their roots from the soil. The microorganisms grow and multiply in a process that is 20 times more efficient than photosynthesis. Best is the part. No. The best part, they are missing a word because they are Finnish people, I think, who write this. The best part is this bioprocess is scalable. Yes, because we are dealing with electromagnetic processes and they're always scalable. Anyway, with our first large production facility, Factory 01, the science stays the same, but the results rise to a new level. Watch the video of the bioprocess, solar foods. Harvesting Solane. As the microorganisms multiply in the water and the liquid grows thicker, some of the slurry is continuously removed and dried up. The resulting dry powder is Solane. It is made up of whole cells that are up to 70% protein. Solane is a novel food, nothing like it has ever been available for commercial use before. Yeah, maybe some aliens do this all the time. Growing and harvesting single cells from nature for food was not possible for hunter-gatherers 100,000 years ago. No, they just collected it. Or the modern human race up until today. Solar Foods has made it possible for humankind to now enjoy a new kind of harvest. Functional protein powder. Solane easily vanishes into food sweet and savory, which makes it ideal for virtually any food imaginable. It's highly nutritious, vegan, and caters to every diet around. The macronutrient composition of the cells is very similar to that of dried soy or algae, but it is more versatile since it has pleasant note of umami flavor and mild aroma. Endless possibilities. Since our bioprocess does not require land, yeah, I guess it does, at least a little bit, it can create an infinite food supply for our world. There is no slaughter of animals, cleared forests, pesticides, or fertilizer runoffs in our solar production process. The possibilities are endlessly sustainable, delicious, and nutritious. Yeah, I think they need a little bit space. But that's not up to me to decide. So now we have it once again. Geology is an all-encompassing topic, and the transmutation of elements is real. Today, I got basically two remarkable messages, or I looked at two remarkable messages, one of which was very bad. It brought me very deep down. I experienced an electrical discharge event, a biological electromagnetic discharge event. I spent some time crying, totally aware of what's going on. It is a cleansing process. The tears are made of different materials according to the reason for why you cry. Is it pain? Is it mental suffering? Is it happiness? Is it anger? Whatever. The tears are made differently according to the reason for why you're crying. If you don't cry, it's not good for you. Crying is not an easy thing to do. It is rarely pleasant. But just the fact that you feel different afterwards is a very good proof for something has left your body physically. Something physical has left your body. In other words, you are a different person afterwards. Yes, there is something missing, basically. Something that has been in you is now not in you anymore. And also, this is the same principle as the Birken current goes through Earth, feeds the plasma at the core. It maintains our atmosphere, the magnetosphere, where the aurorals stop, or the lower edge of the auroras, about the ionosphere boundary. So if there is a fluctuation in the Birken current, these spheres will fluctuate in size and strength. So there might be a possibility for the auroras touching the ground because we are seeing charged particles in the sky. Which are the aurorals? Particles are matter, they are stuff. They are made of something. It's literally stuff up there. And now they are making food out of thin air, as the ancients were describing, as Immanuel Velikovsky wrote down 80 years ago. It's about electromagnetism. You don't have to believe in electromagnetism, but if you are following all the evidence, you will end up in electromagnetism. It's not a thing that you have to believe in. Like on this, here they say, leave your sorrows in the hands of the Lord, because the Lord will keep care of you. God takes care of you. Trust Him. And on the other hand, they are really showing you that we have this kind of a, what is it, defibrillator that gives you an electric shock if your heart is stopping. They have one of these in their facility. So maybe, after all, they don't really trust in God, but they trust in electromagnetism. I leave it up to you what you make out of this. Thanks. Bye.